I remember when we broke up, I was at my aunt's house. I got a text message from you and it was a text, by the way. It was just a text message you sent. But
not a good way to break up with anyone. And this is like, and I have since massively apologized. That relationship, like, I don't think would have lasted whatever happened, because you had just got to New York. I mean, you were 23 and I was 31?
Which was totally inappropriate.
Which was like inappropriate for both of us.
It was inappropriate for him to be even meddling with someone my age.
Absolutely not. And I was just an innocent bystander. We met at mass, by the way.
Yes.
We met at church.
Which is why it was so evil and inappropriate to come after a 23-year-old.
I didn't even know how old you were when we met, by the way. But
when you found out, that didn't stop you. So
well, also, it's not like I lied to you about my age either. Like you knew my age.
And 31 felt like so old to me at the time.
Welcome to Rejection Rehab, the only podcast out there specifically designed to help you get over the fear of rejection and build lasting confidence. Each week I interview an absolutely kaleidoscopic human being who's gone through their fair share of rejection, but overcome it and built lasting confidence in the process. This week it gives me huge pleasure to introduce you to Aubrey Strobel. Aubrey Strobel is an entrepreneur, communication strategist, and podcast host of The Observation, specializing in Bitcoin, stablecoins, AI, and DeFi, or decentralized finance. On the surface, her story seems like an absolute fairy tale. Moving to New York City, alone in 2016 with no money, no job, no connections or friends. Through hard work and determination and the belief that you can just do things, she ended up serving as the chief communications officer at Lolly, the leading Bitcoin rewards platform, and also even gained the attention of Elon Musk, who sent her a tweet a couple of weeks ago. That company was acquired before co-founding Halcyon, a boutique communications firm specializing in cryptocurrency and AI. She's built an audience of more than 200,000 followers across social media platforms, written for op-eds for NBC, Forbes, and Newsweek, and even produced and directed a short film, Lekker Feeling, exploring the intersection of surfing and Bitcoin in South Africa. However, Aubrey's success is partly because of her rejections and failures from colleges and business opportunities and relationships. And I want to add that we actually used to, back in the day, date. And there is a rejection story there that you're going to want to hear. Here to tell the full story and reveal all is Aubrey Strobel. Aubrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's been a while. It's been like 10 years. Genuinely, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so grateful and I'm so amazed to see what you've done in the last 10 years in New York. And, you just had Elon Musk tweet you, which is pretty outrageous. I'd love you to tell us a little bit about that. But did you imagine back in 2016 when you came to New York, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but with nothing more than basically belief that the richest man in the world would be tweeting you, a few weeks ago?
Definitely was not on my radar that would be happening, but yeah, very, very funny situation. And we responded or corresponded on Twitter a few times. I mean, it is his platform, so he's really engaged on X. And
so it was definitely him. It wasn't like someone.
I think so. I mean, I think he's running his own accounts. We'd hope. He's pretty blunt on there. So yes, he responded. My mom actually asked me to get in touch with him. You know how moms do. My mom really believes in me, clearly. She's like...
Why did she want you to get in touch with him?
It was actually really crazy. She so she texted me at like 10 o'clock. And, I always get a little worried when anyone reaches out to me that late as like a family member. And she's like, are you busy? And I'm like, she's going to tell me someone died. Like someone... I don't know why I go there. Maybe I'm just dark. And she wants to call me up because it was like really late. And I go, why? And she goes, I need you to get in touch with Elon. First name basis, by the way.
I love your mom already.
Just like so ridiculous. Like casual at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And I was just like, this is insane. So I just screenshotted that and put it on X and said, I don't know who my mom thinks I am. And then Elon was just like, your mom has a question, and like got back because it went mega viral.
Yeah.
But I do think like...
Wait, what was the question?
So actually the question was that she was having an issue with Tesla solar panels. But I was like, Mom, we cannot ask the richest man in the world this question. Apparently you can. Apparently you can. So
did he answer the
he
actual
answered
question?
the question. Yeah. So it was, yeah, my mom, now she just thinks she's like cool with Elon. So
I love that. So let's go back to 2016 when you came to New York, like around the time that we actually first met. You came with absolutely nothing aside from basically belief and this idea, this mindset that you can just do things. That's kind of, I think, maybe your mantra. What do you say to others who are in the position of starting from scratch or, starting all over again? Because you literally started with nothing here.
I think when you have less to start from, then you actually are you have a high risk tolerance and especially when you're young. And my advice to younger people is to really send it as much as you can when you're young, because your frontal lobe's not closed yet. So you have just like...
That's why we never worked out, right? Your frontal lobe, it was her fault. Her frontal lobe hadn't formed.
So, my advice for younger people would be to really just try as hard as you can. And I had this sort of awareness when I was younger that this energy that I would have was sort of not short-lived, but I had an advantage of having a lot of energy and working hard and showing up and just really sending it. So when I came here with no money, because my parents are teachers, I was born on the Navajo reservation, like very far, remote place in Arizona. My parents, were barely making the average minimum, income across the country. Arizona school teachers are not paid well. I just decided I didn't want to live in the same situation that I grew up in. And I grew up in a lovely home and great parents, and they're still together, but I never wanted to struggle the way I did. And my family really did struggle with the 2008 housing crisis, as many other families did. And so I just thought I need to find a way to do something, and New York City felt a very viable option at the time. So I just ripped it.
But weren't you worried about failure?
I was, in the way of how I would be seen by people from my hometown if I had to go back. But I just had this sort of burn the boats mindset of like, you're not going back. That's really not an option for you to fail, which I think is different than rejection. As an entrepreneur, you can just keep trying. You can fail at things until you kind of find your way.
Yeah, I agree. I think failure and rejection are different, because failure is like, I failed to, start this company or get this company off the ground, or I failed to reach the top of Mount Everest. But I think rejection is a lot more personal. Rejection is typically when someone has rejected you, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's, I don't know, you audition for something and people on a panel are saying, you're not right for this role. I do want to kind of talk about, a romantic relationship rejection, because genuinely, like, you and I 10 years ago, we went out, and obviously, the relationship didn't work out and we ended up going our separate ways. Did you feel, pain of rejection then? I know it was a long time ago, but did you feel like the pain of rejection?
Yeah, of course. I remember when we broke up, I was at my aunt's house. I got a text message from you and it was a text, by the way. It was just a text message you sent. But
not a good way to break up with anyone. And this is like, and I have since massively apologized, because I feel like I was not good.
But honestly, sometimes a text apology is like really nice. Like that's me just being kind of an avoidant. Like I just don't want to have a conversation. So
a text apology or a text breakup?
Oh, sorry, text breakup. That's what I meant to say. A text breakup sometimes it's very selfish, because it's like easier on the person who's doing the breaking up, but it's very unkind to the person who's like receiving it. I actually don't know which one I would rather, because like the words kind of hit harder sometimes. I don't know.
I personally think, even though I didn't do it in this instance, I think saying something to someone and probably in person is probably the best way of doing it, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so too, probably. But at the time, it was text, and I didn't receive it well. I was very upset. And it's kind of just, when you're younger, you go through breakups and it feels really heavy. Even think of like my first boyfriend in high school who like cheated on me. It wasn't technically, it was like a form of rejection in a deceitful way.
Sure.
But it's like those things just hit so heavy because you have fewer inputs of romantic relationships. And we didn't date like terribly long, but it was still something that I was sad about and like felt very, I don't even know what the right word is. Just like, it just sucked.
As most breakups do.
Yeah.
But we discussed this, since, and like when you look back and when I look back, I think that relationship, like, I don't think would have lasted whatever happened, because you had just got to New York. I mean, you were 23 and I was 31?
Which was totally inappropriate.
Which was like inappropriate for both of us.
It was inappropriate for him to be even meddling with someone my age.
Absolutely not. And I was just an innocent bystander. We met at mass, by the way.
Yes.
We met at church.
Which is why it was so evil and inappropriate to come after a 23-year-old.
I didn't even know how old you were when we met, by the way. But
when you found out, that didn't stop you. So
well, also, it's not like I lied to you about my age either. Like you knew my age.
And 31 felt like so old to me at the time. I was like, oh my God, he's literally so old.
I mean, I guess it didn't stop you. I certainly didn't. I didn't feel like it was bad or wrong at the time.
Of course not.
You said that you had a story for me, and I don't know what the story is about after we broke up.
It's not really that long of a story. I was just going to tell you in the kitchen, but so the problem about meeting someone at mass, and a piece of advice for the young people, if you are going to mass, is like if you break up with them, you see them at mass, and one time after we broke up, you're Eucharistic minister. So I was like in...
Eucharistic minister, for those of you who are not maybe Catholic, is when you like hand out the communion, like the wafer to...
It's the body and the blood.
Yeah, of Christ. And so like, I was like, trying to atone for all of my sins, and by being the Eucharistic minister.
And I actually also am one, but I've never done it here in New York. But anyway, so I was in line, didn't know I was in Tom's line.
When you see me.
You're just like holding up the communion thing, and I was like, literally, fuck this guy. but I had to like consume it, and I couldn't get out of line.
Oh my God.
It wasn't placed on the tongue. That would have been even. Could you imagine?
A bit more intimate.
It's a very intimate.
Oh my God.
It is very intimate to receive it on the tongue. I actually never do that.
I never take it on the tongue.
I never do it, but like, obviously you know how to give it to someone, because you have to kind of like slip it.
You have to do it so that your finger doesn't touch
it, because then it could touch someone else's, and then I don't think it's hygienic.
Totally gross.
Anyway, nobody probably understands what we're talking about with that, but
okay.
but like, so I just took it in the hand. But imagine if I took it in the mouth. Oh. Could you imagine?
And by the way, she doesn't go to that church to this day. She doesn't go to that church anymore, and I still go.
I actually avoided that church for 10 years. Just kidding. I did not. No. I go sometimes.
Okay.
And then I realized you weren't there anymore. And every time I'm like, Tom's not here.
Now
Solid.
Now I'm back.
Unfortunately. so I can't go.
Okay, that was amazing. But wait, let's just go back, because she kind of did get me back a little bit, because then years later, like, I'm just minding my own business, and then one of my buddies sends me this clip. I haven't seen Aubrey in years, and she's since then become this like social media kind of like presence, and like lots of followers, and talks a lot about Bitcoin and crypto and all that stuff. And my friend sends me this clip of her being asked something to do with relationships, and she described me as a wolf in sheep's clothing.
And I stand by it.
Because I knew that she was describing me, because she just said, I was a doctor, like won a couple of Emmys, all of which are true. Thank you for saying that, by the way. And then I was like, what? I think I ignored it, but then I just unfollowed you.
You did.
Until like 5 years after that, which is 10 years, I think, after we went out. Then one of my buddies sent me the Elon Musk thing.
They always come back after an Elon Musk tweet.
Yes. And then my flatmate Max was like, you've got to get her on the podcast. This would be amazing. And I did, and you can decide whether or not it was sincere. I left you a voice note, and I said, genuinely, if that's the way that I made you feel, then I do apologize. And then we subsequently met, and I realized, oh my goodness, like you weren't. I thought you were just saying that for like clickbait, but you actually meant what you said, and I am still incredibly apologetic for it, and I apologize. Like I think that like you are an absolute legend, and I think that everyone can make, mistakes in relationships. And obviously, you were wonderful. And I don't think I behaved as well as I could have. And I'm still like genuinely like sorry about that. And you were so generous and like, you were like water under the bridge when we met. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Of course. I mean, I think the context of meeting at Mass and us both being Catholic, I don't know how much you talk about that or you talk about being Catholic at all.
Yeah, but I mean, people have talked about religion on this podcast before, sure. Yeah.
But do you talk about your own ever?
I mean, I think I have spoken about it, but I'm happy to speak about it now for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, meeting at Mass and being so young, you just sort of have like certain assumptions about people and how they are. And I just felt like who you were at Mass and who you like were in real life didn't actually like match up.
Interesting.
And so then that's why I said the line about the
wolf in sheep's clothing,
on the podcast, which was actually with another good podcast. We met at Acme. Shout out to her. She was great. She talks about dating a lot. And she asked me about people I've dated. And you stick in my mind because I don't know if this is like a British thing or like just who you are, but you just definitely, and I tend to date this type of person who like definitely are a big fan of themselves. Like, and that's why I shout out the Emmys and like these things, because that is sort of the way that I remembered you.
A fan of oneself being like, you like yourself. You love
yourself. Which is
I have to say I'm glad that I'm me, but I also think that that I try to make I think it's good to make fun of oneself and be self-deprecating.
Yeah, that's another British thing too. But it's like thinly veiled so that then you can like also brag about yourself.
I do really love this.
This is a mistake on your end for bringing me on this
No,
podcast.
I love this character, slight character assassination, and I think it is largely fair. But I think, wouldn't you prefer to like who you are and be happy in your own skin, and maybe skirt the edges of arrogance? And I don't think arrogance is a good thing, rather than the other side of the coin, which is really not liking who you are and being disappointed in yourself all the time. And I know that there is a happy medium, but I certainly would prefer being like, okay, I'm glad that I'm me, but try not to be like arrogant about it.
I think on both ends of the spectrum, you start to hurt people if you are too narcissistic, or if you hate yourself, or you're too like Eeyore on yourself and sad and woe about the world. You end up hurting people, and when you get to the point of hurting people is when it's not good to love yourself. Because I actually do love people who love themselves and are proud of themselves and are positive and optimistic and doing things that they love. And I also love to celebrate other people as well. I'm like really proud of my friends and their accomplishments and people I date. And so, yeah, I think it's better to err on that side. I think if you just go too far, it can be detrimental to your health and others.
No, agreed. And I am also very happy when my friends or exes are successful, and you've been like incredibly successful. I'm genuinely like really proud of you, and I want to say many, many congratulations. And I also just want to ask you, like, you had unbelievable foresight back in 2016. You literally bought Bitcoin from like a Bitcoin ATM in New York City. First of all, how did you have that foresight to do it? And secondly, you don't have to say like exactly how much it was, but I feel like you probably don't even need to work now, given how much it's gone up. So like that. I mean, if you care to share, I'd love to hear
2016 was a big year. It really was a big year.
Yeah, it was great for you because you got rid of me, or I mean, it wasn't kind of like that, but we broke up, should we say? Should we say, to be diplomatic about it? And then you bought Bitcoin. I feel like maybe you should be attributing a little bit more of your success to me.
Oh my God! So there's the narcissism. There you go. He does it for me. No, I know, but I do think there is a lesson in that when you lose relationships, or what you think is a perceived loss at the time is actually a tremendous gain, because it opens up different avenues, different things for yourself, and you explore areas potentially you would never have gone to. So, I mean, if potentially like that I led myself to Bitcoin and bought it. And yeah, I mean, the foresight was just, it made perfect sense to me that the internet needs its own currency, and that you should always have access to your money. You should be able to trade it all the time. You should be able to send it anywhere. You should have payments that settle quickly. and it shouldn't take days to send a wire, right? So this was something that I was passionate about early on, and I always thought it would work out, which is crazy. And yeah, they call it like a whole coiner. So having like a whole coin is very hard these days because one Bitcoin's worth 100.
Keep going.
$120,000. So
you said a whole corner?
A whole coin.
A whole coin.
A whole coiner. Yeah. So having a whole coin is now getting increasingly difficult. So if you were able to acquire many coins back in the day, it's really good. I want to pass some on to, my children, grandchildren, keep it as some sort of wealth, for the family. But yeah.
I think that's so smart, and congratulations for not just basically retiring and doing nothing.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about AI. That's another thing that you are sort of an expert in, and your company revolves around. So I know that you're a big believer in sort of decentralized finance, but you recently sent me this article in the LA Times that called for sort of broader restrictions on AI, because it was saying, okay, look, you can be a kid and you can look up how to, end your life, for example. And it's maybe perhaps enabling people to do that kind of stuff. And, I'm judging by that you think that maybe there needs to be some restrictions on AI and chatbots and those kinds of things. If that is indeed the case, where do you think the line is between, restricting, restrictions and kind of making sure that the youth don't have access to hurtful information or vulnerable populations versus actually censorship, which is obviously where you don't want to end up?
It's such a big question, and I think that's what everyone's looking at right now. There's a case with OpenAI on this exact issue because there have been people who have ended up committing suicide based on the LLM that runs ChatGPT.
What's the LLM?
It's a large language model. Okay. So it basically is the algorithm that powers the AI. There's a set of coding. So humans code an LLM. And that is like where it all comes from, right? So it's like AI is human in that way because it has a human's ideas and inputs. And where it gets dangerous is, say those humans have opinions that we don't agree with, like offing yourself, something like that. Well, then they're held accountable for how they code and the way they code. And it's incredibly difficult with new information coming out all the time. And so we're sort of at like a very interesting inflection point in technology right now, because AI is not going to slow down. It's only going to increase and speed up. And the way that other countries use it and how we use it is going to come to a head. And it's going to replace many jobs. It's going to replace many relationships. So artificial intelligence is the real deal right now.
Right. And I think from my standpoint, I think that obviously there needs to be some kind of guardrails on it so that you're not just letting every single piece of information that the world has to offer loose on every single population. Because, you can't have kids having access to information like how to end their lives if it enables them to do it, But then again, you can't have who's choosing the censorship. So I think it's a really tough question to answer. I don't have the answer to it. And I think that we'll have to probably see as AI develops, like what happens.
Exactly. And OpenAI is who is behind that. Now you have other ones, like X has its own Grok, which is owned by Elon, and he's challenging that.
And they
kind of work. Yes, my friend Elon. And but what I find I don't like about AI right now is that it is almost too positive in a way that tells you that you're never wrong. And I think we actually have this a lot in society outside of AI, but you have everyone telling you, you're right, you're correct, you're the best. And I actually don't value that for my friendships and relationships. I love when I get roasted. It's actually a love language of mine. And I love when someone tells
Probably
me
why she
I'm
loved
wrong.
me so much. Just roasted her the whole time.
It actually was good. The good banter was good. But it is like, that isn't very important. And when an AI tells you, oh, you're brilliant, you're a genius, of course that friend did wrong you. You should treat her that way, or something back to that effect. It's not doing you any good. It's just validating this sort of, idea you have of yourself. And it can be really bad for you.
Absolutely. AI wants you to use it as much as possible.
You're paying it if you have the subscription.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And you're literally paying it. And so it wants you to use it. It wants you to be happy. And so it's going to give you answers that are going to make you happy. And I'll give you an example of exactly this of AI telling you that you're always right. Had an argument with one of my best friend's wives, because she said
no respect for women. Never had it. Never.
She said that you can't. I told her that you can't buy Marks and Spencer's tea in America, and she said, "Yeah, you can. You can buy it on Amazon." And I was like, "Yeah, no, you can buy it on Amazon, but it's shipped over from like you can buy anything on that." Her argument would mean that okay, you could buy literally anything in America because you can sit on your computer and buy it. But my argument was like it has to be then shipped, and it takes like 2 weeks from the UK. And so she refused to believe I was right. I refused to believe she was right. So I was like, okay, let's ask ChatGPT. Send ChatGPT the screenshots and then send the prompt. I was like, I need you to be an impartial judge. I want you to take any any thoughts you have about me out of this situation, as well as my best friend's wife out of the situation, Joanna. And I need you to come up with a winner in this argument. And I sent the screenshots, and basically it went through it like it was like a lawyer going through some court case. And obviously, because I was right, said that I was right at the end. And then I asked her to do the same with her one. And she did the same. And then it ended up, get this, it ended up telling her that I was right. Again, I was like, clearly I was right. And then she writes in, okay, this time you know that I'm Joanna. Joanna isn't like a fictional character. And this guy is my husband's good friend. And then it changed the answer to say that she was right because it knew that it wanted to please her. As soon as it knew that Joanna was her, then it said she was right. And it is, therefore, it's just total bollocks.
Yeah.
It's trying to please you every time.
Well, I actually put a tweet out about this exact thing. And I said, you pay your therapist. So like in a way, and I'm not saying all therapists are bad, but like you do pay your therapist and they want you to stay a client of theirs. So
patient,
yeah. Client, whatever, client, what a customer.
They are all of the above.
But a therapist wants you to come back, and sometimes they give you the tough love, but sometimes a lot of therapists will, and some people are unreliable narrators of their own lives. They're not going to give you the right feedback back, and then you have AI who just validates you everything that you say. So all we have left to tell us the truth are like drunk people and toddlers at the end of the day. And that's it. So we've come to that point.
That is fair. I would say I'd add to that also very good friends. I think very good friends and I'd say family as well. My parents will tell me like things straight, and I feel like there would be no sugarcoating. But yeah, so I think you can still rely on very good friends and family.
Yeah.
All hope is not lost just yet. Okay, so sticking to the topic of AI, so there was a study published only a matter of days ago that revealed that nearly 1 in 5 high school students, so that's around 20%, say that they or a friend have had a romantic relationship with a chatbot or AI. I couldn't believe that's that one. What effect do you think this is having on that generation?
Be really interested to know if that was male or female. First of all,
I think it was across the board. I'll have to look at I didn't read the full study, but I think it was I assume it was male and female.
Yeah. First of all, it's shocking, but not shocking. Like, I will admit that I have used AI as sort of, not like a friend, but I've tried to get feedback when I don't, like it's 11 o'clock and I don't want to call up a friend and like ask them for something. And that's actually kind of scary. Like the bar that we have for relationships and how much we lean on people is now being outsourced to AI. And I think for a lot of young men, we've seen the rise in incel culture, in OnlyFans, and these OnlyFans models have bots that you can chat with, which are never them. They're outsourced to other people. All the time they're men, or they're just a bot. And so it's really crazy to see us kind of opt into something that feels like real, even if it isn't real, but it's close enough for us so that does the job. And I think it's going to be really crazy because we are dealing with a birth rate decrease in the United States and Western culture. So I don't think it bodes well, but there's also a loneliness epidemic. So does that solve like the pain for some people? Perhaps. It's a very tough situation.
Yeah, I mean, it might, but I think that, if anything, like the loneliness epidemic, I think is a signal to get out and meet more people and do more stuff in real life. Get off your phone and be with human beings like in the flesh, which is the opposite of turning to AI to kind of solve your loneliness. So I think that this is like a very scary and sobering statistic. I do think, like you, that there are lots of cases that AI is very helpful. It can make, things a lot more efficient, menial kind of number crunching tasks amazing. So it can actually save a lot of time. But where I'm worried about AI is where it starts creeping into interpersonal relationships and reducing the amount of in real life stuff. Just like apps, dating apps, I don't have anything against them, but it does reduce the amount of time that you spend in real life because you're on your phone more and so on, and you're not out there, with people, asking out people in real life and so on. And so I do think, I don't think you can police this, but I just think it is a bit of a sobering statistic, and I just don't know how it can be solved at this point, which is a bit sad.
When I think of the loneliness epidemic, I also think of older people usually, which actually makes me sadder. So people who don't have family and friends close to them, really sad, and then don't get out and socialize in their community. When you're younger, you really shouldn't have this loneliness epidemic. Like, you should be out socializing, putting yourself out there, and you should want to be a part of a community. And communities are how civilizations worked for many years, how society works. And we need community, and you need to lean on each other. So I think when in doubt, also advice to younger people, but really any people, is like, go to the party, go to the event, make yourself go, even if you don't feel like going, at least for, a good amount of the time. I think we've gotten really close into our apartments. We feel safe there. We're like, oh, just take care of yourself. But at the expense of kind of not contributing to the greater whole.
Yeah.
And it needs to be contributed to.
Especially with the work from home culture, I think people just get very comfortable just in their pajamas, not leaving their apartment, ordering stuff in. And you need to get out there. And the other thing I always encourage people to do is just talk to strangers. I mean, it's literally how I got my previous job was talking randomly to a lady in a supermarket in the checkout aisle. And it turns out that her brother started a company that was 45 seconds walk from my apartment in New York. I met this woman in Costa Rica, so like not even in America. and so you never know. You could meet your future employer, you could meet your future best friend, you could meet your future spouse. You absolutely never know. I always encourage people, be kind and talk to strangers.
I totally agree. I mean, just meeting people in your community, it's like, just go out and even if you give a compliment too, it's like the lowest bar thing that you could do. Yeah. And you can always find something kind to say about somebody. So it makes me sad. But I think I don't totally understand. I'm a millennial, so I don't totally understand Gen Z's upbringing, because I grew up when phones and things weren't always immediately available. So my brain wasn't as locked into that. Yeah. And also my parents made us like sit at the table with a bunch of older adults. And so we learned how to socialize and self-regulate. And I maybe it just feels incredibly difficult for people to talk to others. I don't know. I
do want to point out the fact that you said that you're a millennial. I'm also a millennial, so the relationship obviously wasn't inappropriate because it's the same generation.
It was 8 years. It was like 9. He was 10 years older.
I was not 10 years older.
He was 10 years older than me.
It was 8.
But I was a young millennial. I'm almost Gen Z, so really.
And not that it's difficult. You were always way more mature than me.
Still am.
So yes.
Still am.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk a little bit about confidence, because this podcast is about overcoming the fear of rejection and building lasting confidence. You're a very, very confident person. You were confident when I first met you when you were 23. You're even more confident now. You've built up even more confidence. What do you say to people to help them build up the confidence, especially in today's world where kind of algorithms judge worth with followers, likes, engagement, and also where rejection often comes silently. It's like the seen but not replied effect. So you see the message, but no one's replied. Like, how do you get your confidence in this day and age? And what do you say to other people?
When I was younger, I really wanted to be liked by everyone, especially in dating. I always really wanted everyone to like me, all the guys to like me, all the friends, all of that. You don't actually want that at all. And I had this like understanding of, you actually want to be a polarizing person and not a sort of performative way. You want to do it because when you strike an authentic chord with yourself, you naturally find the people who gravitate towards you. And that's really where you want to be. So being liked isn't really the goal. The goal is to be seen, to be yourself, to be authentic. And that is really hard. But when you eventually do it, and I think it comes in the form of repetition of building confidence, doing that and putting yourself out there and having the crickets and people feeling like, oh, I don't really resonate with this, or I didn't know she was like this, or she has this opinion. Well, then that's fine. Those people weren't meant for you. And it's not even a negative thing. It's not bad that they're don't like you or they don't agree with you. It just is. And everyone can't. Like, it just logically cannot work that way. And you also won't like other people sometimes, and it's totally fine. But I think once you do the repetitions and you practice and practice, you're going to feel like this sense in yourself that you are in the right place. And you really have to listen to that. And I think that builds you up over time.
And one other thing I wanted to ask you was about going back to rejection. I remember you saying in an email to me, you don't like the expression rejection is redirection because you think it's quite passive. Mm-hmm. Can you just like unpack that a little? Because, you know, I've had other people, you know, on the show saying rejection is redirection. It's actually just redirecting your life in a certain way. But I'd love for you to...
It just feels a little passive to me because I don't think, like, for example, us not working out or you breaking off the relationship didn't redirect me. I am steering my own ship. You should be a high agency person. I'm in control of Aubrey Strobel. I choose where she wants to go. And to say, like, it almost feels like bumper cars or something, like, oh, you're getting redirected this way, and then now I'm going to aimlessly walk off this way. Like, that's not it. You're just kind of refining yourself and figuring out, oh, this person and I actually didn't have a lot in common, or we weren't really compatible. And so I need to be with someone who makes me feel good when I'm around them or whatever. And especially when you do get broken up with, it's very easy to romanticize someone and be like, oh, they were so great. Then you're like, actually, no, you didn't really like some parts of them. You didn't really like this and you didn't really like this. And sometimes it's not that either. Sometimes it's like really heartbreaking. I don't think I've ever gotten in a relationship where it was like I thought that was the one or something like that, where it was...
You didn't think I was the one?
Unfortunately not. But
Liar, pants on fire.
Unfortunately not. But like, I don't know. It's just... Maybe other people have gotten in relationships where they think about that person years later and they go, oh, I really missed that. I don't feel that way with anybody. And if you do, that's okay too. I think that there's multiple soulmates and people that you can meet as well in the world, because it definitely happens.
Okay, so I always end the interview with the same or similar questions. Favorite movie, favorite book?
Okay. So my favorite movie is actually a Christmas film.
That's
so
okay.
I love It's a Wonderful Life. I love it. It makes me cry every time.
Is that the Italian one?
No.
Oh.
It's very old. It's a black and white film.
Oh, okay,
It's just so happy. It actually like truly makes me cry every time at the end I watch it.
But so it's not dubbed?
No.
Okay. I'm thinking of another one.
You've never seen it?
I don't think so.
You have to watch it this Christmas.
Okay.
It's classic.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
And book?
The Bible.
Wow, you're the first person to say the Bible. I think maybe one other person tried to say it, but like they were like, aside from the Bible. Good. Have you read the whole thing?
Not the whole thing, but I
How can you say it's your favorite book if you haven't read the whole thing?
I mean, I've gone to mass my whole life, so you actually get through the Bible in 3 years. If for the people at home who have never been to church, you actually can get through it. And I've gone to mass for 30 years, but I have a Bible app on my phone and I read it every day.
Oh wow!
On the app, which probably not as good as like having the actual book, but I just feel like I can carry it with me.
I love that. Good. Sort of side question: do you find that your faith grounds you and gives you confidence and helps you with rejection and so on?
Absolutely. I totally, yes. I think God helps me so much. Like I would be nowhere without God, and having the belief in a higher power and just knowing that someone is the designer and the creator of this universe is so much more intelligent than I am. And so that if this small little thing didn't work out.
I'm just kidding. She loves it. She loves getting roasted. I'm telling you. I'm only doing it because she enjoys it.
It's my kink. We have to cut that.
That's so good. I'm dying.
So ridiculous. But yeah, like God has carried me my entire life, and I'd be nothing without him.
I love that. Okay, what are the things that kind of keep you up at night? The biggest things you're thinking about right now, for better or worse, whether it's things that worry you or things that excite you at this point in your life?
Okay, can we talk about this one for a second?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like big existential,
Could
small
be
things?
Anything. The things that, like, it could be something in your career that's really exciting you that you're like trying to do. It could be, oh my goodness, like, an existential crisis or an existential, thought that's really positive. It can be absolutely anything.
To be honest, I think when I go to bed, I try to really visualize my goals as I go to sleep, because I think there's something powerful in doing that at night as you fall asleep. And I've actually been having really a lot of trouble with my latency on Aura.
We both got Aura rings?
Yes.
Wait, is yours there? Nice.
Yeah.
We had that in
I got marked
episode.
down for it today on latency. So maybe I'm like thinking too much before bed.
Maybe you were excited about the podcast, excited about seeing me, probably.
That's probably not what it was. But definitely was not.
By the way, these guys should sponsor me, because this is the second time I've spoken about it. Okay.
But obviously now that it's twice.
Now that I've had you on, 200,000 followers, everyone.
Yeah.
So thinking about your goals.
I think about my goals, and I say my evening prayers in my bed. I don't really.
Your what prayers?
My evening prayers, but I don't.
Nice.
I don't really like get to the side of the bed. I just kind of like say it as I fall.
So, and do you have like a way of saying your evening prayers, like a ritual?
No, I just sort of think, I always say what I'm grateful for, like, thank you, God, for these things. And then I think about people in my life who I feel need prayers.
Oh, that's really lovely. Best advice you've ever received from someone, and best advice you've ever given to anyone, and it can be the same thing, if you want.
I think I've given a lot of great advice on this podcast, to be honest.
Subjective.
Don't date men older than you. If you're in your 20s, do not date someone in your 30s. You're welcome.
That's so good.
Don't do it. You've learned from me. I've done it for you.
I did her a massive favor. She wouldn't have bought that Bitcoin were it not for me.
I think my best advice is to be, like, not to be cliche. I mean, we've talked about God quite a bit, but I think following God has always kept me in the best place in my life. And so if it's beneficial to you, if it's not God or a higher power, I think surrendering over to a higher power is really good advice. I don't think it's advice. It's something I've had to learn.
Aubrey, thank you so much for coming on the show. I cannot believe those 10 years have absolutely flown by. And honestly, you're so generous and benevolent. And to let me, like, even get back in touch with you and for you to come on is incredibly generous of you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Aubrey Strobel.
Thanks so much for having me, Tom. It's really nice. And I like the theme of this podcast a lot. So it's a full circle moment for everyone.
Thanks, Aubrey.